Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel, and as the transfer window goes on and we get closer to the end of it, Celtic fans are beginning to get impatient, and rightly so. There has been a lack of exactly that, transfers at Celtic Football Club. We are still waiting to bring in more players to improve the current state of the Celtic squad, and after Celtic's update to the London Stock Exchange yesterday, most fans are asking the same question: why is money not being spent to enhance this team? Well, today we're going to talk a little bit about that. We're going to look over the disappointment that has been so far this transfer window. Buckle in. It's one of those ones. If you haven't already, please make sure to hit like and subscribe. It would be much appreciated. We're trying to get towards 50,000 subscribers this year. So if you could, please spare a moment, go down below, hit both those buttons. It's absolutely free. And hopefully, most of you agree with what I have to say in this video. If not, then fair enough. Each to their own. But don't let it put you off hitting those buttons. So Celtic's transfer window has been generally a disappointment for most fans. We have done very little in improving this side, and as we get closer to the deadline, which is now only a few weeks away, it's all gone quiet. There isn't much to talk about. We're at that stage where people are hoping rumours are just being made up to give us something to talk about. It doesn't look as though Celtic are going to announce anybody anytime soon. And that is really concerning when you consider the fact we have a new Champions League format coming up. Brendan Rodgers was brought back to the club to try and bring us forward in Europe. And you're really risking that same conversation that we had back in 2019. You either back him or you lose him. And right now, it doesn't seem like the manager is being backed to bring in players to make a formidable side to leave a dent in Europe. So we're going to talk about a few things today. I hate doing these videos because I don't want to feel like I'm being overly negative, but at the same time, I'm certainly not a happy clapper. I'm not going to pretend that all is okay at the club right now. We've won domestically year after year. But it's time to be better than that. It's time to be more ambitious. It's a serious case of deja vu opening a video like that. This isn't the first time since I started YouTube back in 2016 that I've had to sit down and make a video like this. And usually in the past, I feel like when I've came on to give a message to the board or anything like that, I've been effing and blinding. I've been a lot more, I don't know, out there with what I've had to say. But I feel like there's a part of me that can't be like that in this video. At the end of the day, we're doing well. Business-wise, we are being run incredibly well when you compare us to the other team in the city, Rangers, who right now don't even have a home stadium to play in. There is very little to complain about with a lot of things at Celtic. But the fans' ambition has not been matched by the boards for far too long. And it's got to the point where it's just become tiresome, and you actually need to ask yourself the question if it's ever going to change. This was a summer where Brendan Rodgers made it abundantly clear at the end of last season that he wanted to do big things. He wanted to improve this side. Christ, he made that clear in the January transfer window, and it didn't happen then. So going into this window, there was a lot of expectation from Celtic supporters, and I would say a lot of optimism as well. And as we sit here on the 7th of August 2024, that optimism, that expectation has not been matched. So far, this is our transfer window. This is what's happened with both incomings and outgoing. Celtic have signed 3 players, one of them being Paulo Bernardo, who was a player who was here last season. We brought him in on a permanent basis. It doesn't exactly feel like a new signing. Yes, it is a new signing, I know, but it doesn't feel like Celtic have went over and beyond the odds to go and get him. Apart from that, we've spent £1 million between 2 goalkeepers, and that's that, which brings our total to roughly £4.5 million the club have spent in this transfer window. Is that enough by this point? Absolutely not. Now, to add to that, we know we are waiting on Adamida to hopefully become a Celtic player permanently, just like Paulo Bernardo did last week. Will that happen? There's no guarantee. It's looking like it might, but just like the Paulo Bernardo situation, it's taken far too long. It's been a tedious and drawn-out transfer story, which really should have been straightforward for the club to get over the line. It hasn't been, and a lot of arsing about has made it one that fans are just tired of now. yes, if we go out and spend £5-6 million on Adam Eder, it'll take the total up to, 10 million spent roughly. But it's still not enough to then come off the back of a season where Ida and Bernardo were already playing for us, to then come into this season with no further additions in the outfield areas. That's embarrassing. There should be more than that, and Celtic certainly have the money in the bank to make that happen. It's not like we're in a situation where the club are skint. We're not in a situation where we don't have the resources to go and improve this side. So what is going on? And yesterday's London Stock Exchange update has just made fans even more annoyed about the entire transfer window. So yesterday, this update was issued to the London Stock Exchange by the club, saying that Celtic have enjoyed a strong on-pitch performance in the 2023-24 football season, having won the domestic double. In addition, it has enjoyed a successful year in generating gains from player trading. As a result of such gains and a strong end to the season and football perspective, Celtic now expects earnings for the year ending the 30th of June 2024, which will be significantly higher than the previous expectations, which were formed before the conclusion of the season and prior to certain player disposals. Player registration valuations and player trading can often materially influence Celtic's financial performance in addition to trading revenue. The summer transfer window is underway, and following the closure of the window and the finalisation of the year-end balance sheet review, the club will then be in a position to confirm the extent of its earnings by publishing its results for the year ended the 30th of June 2024, in line with its usual timetable in mid-September 2024. That was published by Michael Nicholson and Chris Mackay, of course, Chief Executive Officer, CEO, and Chief Financial Officer, CFO of the club. They have went out and put this statement on the board, which says that we are expecting a much better, a significantly better financial result for the year just ended in 30th of June 2024. The full details will be revealed in mid-September. So if we've enjoyed a significantly better year financially, why are the club spending no money? So this was the end of year financial results that were published this time last year, mid-September 2023, which covered the year ending 30th of June 2023, which detailed that Celtic had enjoyed a group revenue increase of 35.8% to £120 million compared to the £88.2 million for the year prior, that there was financial gains in other areas as well, a profit before taxation of £40.7 million compared to £6.1 million the year prior, basically saying the club was loaded and there was a lot of money in the bank. This was then followed up by the interim financial reports earlier this year, which detailed that Celtic had enjoyed a revenue increase of 11% to £85.2 million, which was an increase on £76.5 million from the same point the year prior. So this was ending December 31st, 2023. That's 6 months leading to there. They had enjoyed an increase of 11%. The profit on trading was up to £32 million. Profit before taxation went down, but was still at £30.3 million. And player registrations, acquisition of them, £12.9 million. Basically, there you go on screen. The club is bloody loaded. There is a lot of money in the bank, and now we're expecting results that will be published in September this year that will be significantly higher on what the club first expected. A lot of money. A lot of money. Now, this money obviously comes from various places. Prize money for winning the league, prize money for winning the Scottish Cup, which is a very, very small part of it. Majority of it, Champions League earnings, which will boost the finances of the club heavily with this new jackpot you get for entering the Champions League. Talks of it being up to £60 million. Of course, player sales, which play a big part in it, even players who move for a couple of £1 million, it still brings a lot of money into the club. But one of the main things that brings money into the club, one of the biggest parts, is us. We are the life, the beating heart of Celtic Football Club. The millions of pounds that every year fans pump in through their £600 season books, that they throw in for their Champions League match packages, their League and Scottish Cup tickets, their merchandise, their shirts, home, away and third kits every single year, their food and drink that they buy at the stadiums, and everything else Celtic related that you can possibly buy. It all comes from us. It comes from our wallets. It comes from our pockets. Us, as fans, we give. Celtic don't necessarily give back all the time, and that's where the frustration is lying. Listen, the reason I said I was going to do this today without all the yeffing and blinding is because there still is 3 or 4 weeks left of the transfer window. Celtic can still get business done, but it's the faith in that transfer business which is now fading for Celtic supporters. Celtic can still end this window relatively strong if they go out and they make the correct signings. But we've had months to identify the areas we need to improve, and the lack of conversation surrounding those areas, the quiet rumours which have fizzled out from the start of the transfer window, it's not enough to offer encouragement to the Celtic support. So as we now enter these last 3 or 4 weeks of the transfer window, you can understand why fans are rightly getting irritated. We deserve to see better. The manager deserves to be backed better. Time is running out. The squad, quite frankly, isn't good enough. Let's just have a look at it, shall we? Let's put the evidence on the table. Here on screen, this was May 29th, 2024. A few days after the Scottish Cup final, I went over Celtic's summer shopping list and went through the squad depth in best possible fashion that I could. This was the squad depth on May 29th, 2024. We had 28 players roughly who were considered first team players around the team. We had 8 out of 8 locally trained players for the European quota as well. But as you can see, we had players there that we knew we had to get rid of. There was obviously going to be trimming, but it was very, very evident that we had to obviously improve on that as well. In the left back position, we only had Greg Taylor. We needed more than just Greg Taylor, that was a fact. In the centre back areas, a lot of dead wood. Was Liam Scales the right standard of player to be partnering Cameron Carter-Vickers? That was something that had to be addressed. So, if we look at it now, for this point in time, it's not been addressed. Greg Taylor remains the only left back player at the club. Liam Scales, Mike Nawrowski, Yuki Kobayashi, Gustav Lagerbielke, Stephen Welsh are the centre-half options outside Cameron Carter-Vickers. Are they good enough? That is really up for debate. Kyogo, the only striker at the club. The only recognised striker at the club. And generally, if you compare it to the last photo, which I'll bring back up on screen now, you'll notice the squad is generally a lot lighter. Yeah, we had to trim some dead wood. But we haven't really brought in the players that we had to try and make it all worthwhile. We're still a little bit of a mess. And God bless Brendan Rodgers and the players themselves, by the way, for doing such a good job on the park through pre-season and the opening game of the season. Because see, other type points in time, if we weren't playing as well, and maybe if Rangers weren't as such a mess as they are, this would be real cause for panic. But the Celtic board are really, really lucky right now that there's not much to panic about. But as soon as we kick a ball in Europe, that'll all change. I made this Celtic transfer shopping list for the summer transfer window. On May 29th, 2024, I thought that Celtic needed 2 goalkeepers, a left-sided centre-half, a quality left-back, a Matt O'Reilly replacement if he left the club, Paulo Bernardo, Adam Ida and a quality right winger. I thought ideally that's what Celtic need to really take this squad to the next level, to really improve in all the areas where we're maybe lacking. And most people in the comments section agreed with me. And most people, if you looked online, agreed that these were the areas that Celtic had to focus their improvements in. This is the list, ticking off what we've done. On screen, we've signed 2 goalkeepers and Paulo Bernardo. The rest of the list has been totally neglected. And if I'm some fat specky YouTuber who's sitting in my house and I can identify that we need these improvements, why can't the board? Why can't the recruitment team? Why have we yet to do it? Now, if you look at the list, I will offer the exemption to the Matt O'Reilly replacement. That hasn't been pushed as a priority, mostly because Matt O'Reilly's still at the club. But once again, riding our luck a little bit. The fact he hasn't left. But that could change very, very soon. And do I have faith that the board have got a replacement lined up for the day he leaves? Absolutely not. No chance. I don't think they do. We have not signed a centre-half. We have not signed a left-back. I can be lenient with the right winger right now. But the centre-back and the left-backs not being touched on is absolutely criminal. And the fact that it's the 7th of August and Adam Ida nor any other striker has been signed and Kyogo remains the only striker at the club, once again, criminal. They're being let off with murder. How have we not improved in these areas which fans could identify as early back as the Scottish Cup final, and before then, and long before then, and we still don't have them? I have no idea. Generally, I'm trying to stay patient and stay pretty... I want to acknowledge the fact that it's not easy to sign quality in this day and age when you're Celtic, when you're having to beat off teams in the Premier League and you're having to look around the world for bargains or whatnot. It's not easy, I understand that, but it feels like there's been very little work getting done from the outside, and we want the proof of the work getting done before this window shuts. And we've got so much money lying about at this football club that you think to yourself, our ambition should surely be met by a board who have the money there to do that. Surely. It's even the small things at Celtic right now which get fans down. For as happy as I think Celtic fans are at the moment, there is reasons to be discontent, and you're allowed to moan about these things. Like the charging of tickets for the League Cup game against Hibs at Celtic Park. £25 for an adult ticket for a League Cup game. Probably going to be on some miserable Sunday afternoon, pouring of rain, when we've been offered no perks for our season books this year. Usually, in years gone by, there's been free friendly games, perhaps other games that have been put on it for free. This year, none. There wasn't even a friendly at Celtic Park. No testimonials, no nothing. And we're having to fork out more money, just as some people have had to part with £500, £600 for the season book itself. And then they're going to be asked to part with over £100 for a Champions League match package. Once again, it feels like that Celtic take, and give nothing back. And that's why fans get down. Celtic, you've got 3 weeks to really try and please the supporters, to give us something to be happy and ambitious about. It can't be that hard. So that is it for today. A bit of a longer one of the classic Ryan 118 rant videos, you could say. But I've tried to keep my nerve in doing so. I just feel like generally the Celtic fans deserve to voice their concerns without being subject to the usual, we're winning. Oh, you should be happy we're winning. We want to do better than just winning. And we want to win in Europe. So, yeah. Anyway, like and subscribe. See y'all next time.